Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It's a glorious Sunday morning over here from Helsinki, Finland. I've been up since 3 a.m., but that's okay because we got the power of the caffeine, my friends. Anyways, with that said, I would like to wish you the best and the happiest. Let's get into it right now. We need to drastically waste no time today, because it's a big day, my friends. It's a very big day. And we'll probably have to check out a bunch of altcoins here today too, seeing as we do see a bifurcated market, actually. We do see several altcoins actually carrying out some pretty impressive rallies. 2 new all-time highs yesterday since the last 24 hours since we last spoke. So I do think that it'd be very much warranted to do that. But Bitcoin, a bit of a different story, perhaps. Anyways, into the Krown trading application we go. That can be found at app.krown.net. It is 100% free. So if you so desire, you may claim your free account right now in the description below. Anyways, what do we see over here that is different from yesterday? Open interest did pop up a little bit to 8.8 billion, but more importantly, we did see the actual breakdown of that since the last, I think about half a week now. So that change of behavior is very much confirmed, and it is time to be looking for something new on Bitcoin. On top of that, Fear Ingrid Index is at a 20 read, which is quite literally the lowest that we've seen since, well, coronavirus dump times, actually. In fact, this is the lowest that it has been in more than a year, which does kind of speak for itself. Bitcoin dominance at 40%, so I do want to check in on the macro levels for that chart today and see what the altcoin market is doing in its totality. And as far as the top 10 best coins, top 10 worst coins, we actually do see some pretty impressive rallies from yesterday. Harmony, XRP, Solana, and Cardano all put in double digits right there. And on the losers list, we got some Chainlink's on there, which is rather surprising. You don't see Chainlink on the losers list too often. Anyways, into the market data tab we go. Let's see what we got going on over here. And there is, yes, okay. Again, here is a change of behavior that I'm talking about on the open interest. A lot easier to see with this chart that goes over a longer period of time. We are breaking structure on this, and that does imply that there is something new to be looking at in the overall market. On top of that, we do see, well, a lower low on our long chart right here. It's kind of hard to ignore that. Here's our high, here's our low, here's our lower high, here's our lower low. I think that might just be a trend, my friend. Unfortunately, for many people out there, that will not be your friend. Anyways, what do we see as far as funding rates go? We actually see FTX posting a massive negative rate. We've actually found a way to fix the data feed here too, which is going to be pretty damn cool. I think it's either already implemented or it'll be coming in the next update. So definitely keep an eye on that. But all the exchanges are actually positive right here, which is rather interesting. Not anything too aggressively positive, so I'm not really able to make much out of this right here. It's kind of a non-event in its current stature. So with that in mind, let's waste no more time. I need to get into the actual price action charts themselves. Might have a bit of a sneezy here. If I can feel the allergies creeping up. But Bitcoin. Okay, where did we leave off yesterday? We did say yesterday Bitcoin likely comes back down to about $48,000 and tries to bounce there. We actually did come back down to $48,000. We got a very pitiful bounce and then actually broke it, to be fair. However, I am very hesitant to look at it, a breakdown like this over the weekend as actionable, to be quite honest with you. Technically, yes, it did break this area down, and yes, this will have implications with the higher term timeframes, obviously, as we'll cover in a second here. But it's very difficult to ignore what's going on in the lower term timeframes right here. So within the context of the lower term timeframes, would I be looking for a bounce? Yes, I would. Why is that? Because we have bullish divergences building up pretty much on all lower term timeframes up to a 10-hour, as we see right here. 1, 2, potential 3 drives in progress right here. How would that be confirmed? I want to see a 4-hour total closure above the 10 symbol right there. If it can do that, that would be good to me. Looking at a 6-hour right here, what do we see? Same thing, 1, 2 drives officially, to be fair. If we can take above the last 6-hour high, which is 48.7, 48.5. So one of those two would be good enough for me. Very likely driving targets a bit higher. 8-hour is going to, yep, it's going to have it as well. We can see right here, 1, 2 drive. And what about 10-hour? Yep, we have it as well between this point and this point, assuming that this does look like a local low. And again, I just want to see it tick above the last high. We came about $20 shy of it in the early morning hours here, so I would still give it a chance to do it. Still got, another 4 or 5 hours till this next closure. 12-hour, what do we see over here? Do we see any bullish divergence potential? No, we do not actually. So very interesting. So it does go all the way up to 10-hour, which is a respectful time frame, obviously. And with that in mind, what would that, or what would a bullish divergence signal imply from that posturing on those time frames? Well, 4-hour target would be about $50,000. That obviously have implications into the 6, 8, and 10. And if we were to go all the way to the 10, whereas a 10-hour, that's actually around 51,500-ish region. Now, it will be coming down, to be fair, but that would, as you can see, be directly in line with our last sort of lower high on this time frame specifically as well. So I still do think that Bitcoin is possible to get up to $53,000. I don't have a strong opinion on this. My strong opinion is on what's going on in the higher term time frames here. But for right now, I do still think Bitcoin probably tries a bit of a bounce from this region. Anywhere around 50 to 51,000 bucks is fair game. If Bitcoin can start to take above this last local high right here at about 50,500, I would extend that another 2 to 3,000 bucks to about 53,000 bucks, give or take 500 from there. But overall, as long as Bitcoin's below 58,000 bucks, that is quite literally just another lower high. There's nothing really to be excited about that on the higher term timeframes if you are a more long-term trader here. So with that in mind, it is time to go to the higher term timeframes and see what we got going on over here. And it ain't looking great, to be honest with you. Anyways, looking at the daily right here, we did get our first closure below to the bottom side trailing band for the first time in quite some time, going all the way back here to April 21st on this little trendy move to the downside. On top of that, we do see that the SMI continues with the momentum increase to the downside. Not fucking good. On top of that, we do see that the DMX ADI is continuing with the DMI minus dominancy plus ADX continues to strengthen. Not fucking good. And if we go over here to, well, actually the daily MACD is technically not increasing on the histogram just yet, but it is a long day to trade, so fair enough on that one. Today, I believe, is closing tonight, so I'd keep an eye on this one as well, just because we do see, or at least I'd want to see continuation on these signals right here with the MACD histogram continuing, and also the ADX DMI continuing as well with the DMI minus being dominant. Now, if this signal does get faded, that could be an early warning signal that we do see this bounce come a little bit higher. Still very possible there. Still very possible, of course. But overall, remember, what was one of the big things I was kind of holding off on sort of our analysis on this channel for the past, 2 to 3 weeks now, saying, hey, look, long-term macro is Bitcoin bullish. Yeah, and actually still do think so, even if Bitcoin breaks down here to 40,000 bucks or 35,000 bucks, very possible. But not looking for immediate continuation like in a trending format right now. Well, it was based off of the hash ribbons indicator over here, of which we had never seen a buy signal on that. So remember, we got the capitulation signal over here, and every time that we have seen this in the past, it takes about a month between the capitulation signal and the actual buy signal that comes after that. And then typically after the buy signal, it takes about a week until you get the actual move. Well, we didn't get any of that. We haven't seen any of that. And to be fair, we did see the capitulation signal in the 24th of April, right? So a month out from there would be actually about at the end of this week. It would be the I think we're at the 16th of May today. So yeah, in about a week, it would be around that same sort of time zone. So it would still perhaps be worth keeping an eye on. And perhaps, that comes in when, if and when Bitcoin comes down all the way to 41, 42,000 bucks, very possible, yes. And that would be a damn good sign that I would be looking for some actual bottoming action, a reaccumulation phase, and then very likely, another try to the upside. But until that happens, I do not believe that there is any reason, any real pertinent reason to be looking for like a major upside move immediately. That is. So with all of that in mind, should we go through the actual dissection of this? I think I'll go through a few examples here just because it is a long-term analysis day, I suppose, and we can go back on over here and we can see this capitulation signal. This was happening in 20th of October, right? That happens right here, precipitated into this. I mean, this was kind of just a continuation phase anyways, but ultimately it did go into a consolidation, which is kind of what we're doing right here as well, although this one's looking a little more top heavy to be fair. Anyways, this capitulation signal to the buy signal took, 20th of October all the way to 2nd of December. That's about a month, a little bit more than a month. And then this is the 2nd of December right here, right? Yeah, that's price action just kind of trading sideways still. We didn't actually break out to the upside until the 15th of December. So that takes about 2 weeks actually from signal given to next major move. Same thing over here. This was in, 23rd of May actually, getting the capitulation signal. Then when did we get the buy signal? That was way the hell out over here. So it doesn't necessarily need to flow the whole way through. I'm looking for the buy signal. That's the major thing. And what do we see on the buy signal? That's about 11th of June. So let's just kind of dial this one out. So end of May to early June, a little bit over a month in this case. And then from your buy signal, which is 11th of June to next sort of trending move, was 24th of July. So that one actually taking a little bit longer, to be fair. Actually significantly longer. This was 11th of July, not June, 11th of July. So 11th of July to, let's call it like 22nd, 23rd of July. Yeah, a little bit more than a week, to be fair. Same thing over here. After coronavirus dump times, we get the capitulation signal after the actual dump, but that's not what we're concerned about. We're concerned about the buy signal over here. What is the buy, where did the buy signal happen in comparison to the capitulation signal? Well, that was 17th of March versus 24th of April. About a month, a little bit more than a month to be fair. And then your 24th of April towards your actual breakout was just a few days later, actually, at the 27th of April. So a little bit less than a week, about half a week right there. We'll do one more iteration over here. I suggest that you do this on your own if you want to go through the full analysis on it, but you'll notice that they're pretty much all the same. Anyways, capitulation right here. This was 18th of November. Buy signal over here, 26th of December. A little bit more than a month in this case. And where's your next move? Well, that would be, I'd say that's right around here, 4th of January. So about a week right there too. A little bit more than a week it looks like. So overall, is this within the context of prior signals that we have seen? It still is, yes. But that also means that Bitcoin can very easily play out some more sideways and downside while we wait for that to kind of populate itself. With all of that said, if I were to put this whole thing into a narrative, which look, you don't need to fucking do, and honestly, this is why people should hate technical analysis, because this is an opinion thing. This is not technical analysis. What I'm about to say, what I think is happening right here is very similar to 2013, right? Bitcoin basically went on a 1,200% unabated move from the coronavirus dump lows to our current highs, more than a 10x off those lows. I mean, very fucking impressive move right here, right? We're talking about basically $4,000 all the way to $65,000. That's kind of insane. Actually, it's more like 50% right there. So what am I looking for right here? I mean, I do think that Bitcoin probably does drop it out and reaccumulate something like something in this fashion, get everyone super bearish, and then try again to the upside. I do not think that the macro run is done. I've done many long-term analysis videos on that as to what I'd be looking for on a macro, on a macro high. We haven't seen one of them actually on this current high, so I don't think that that's what's happening. But I do think that when you're dealing with big numbers like this, we can play some pretty fucking nasty downside, to be fair. So with all of that in mind, again, that is just personal opinion. That does not mean that it has to happen. Anyways, I mean, none of it means that it has to happen. It's all probabilities and statistics. Anyways, okay, do we want to check out anything over here? Is this relevant to us right now? On the 4-hour, we do see 4-hour MACD trying to tick up. We also saw 4-hour TSI, I believe, trying to tick up as well. So again, I do put, I would essentially be looking for a bounce out of this region first and foremost, and then maybe a little bit later this coming week, Bitcoin does try for the next downside move. Do we have anything on characters SEC over here? Yeah, daily's looking nasty from this perspective, but let's go to the 4-hour and see if we can suss anything out. No, actually 4 hours would be pretty damning too, to be fair. See 4-hour Stokes still angled downside, even breaking what would have been a trend line right here too. Looks like it's gonna probably break it on the next tick. Let's see, we got 3 hours left to go. I suppose a lot can happen in 3 hours, to be fair, but I would keep an eye on that. Let's see, what about the 12-hour as well? Is this one coming all the way down? Needs to get above 49,750. Nasty. What about daily? 53. Oh, dear Lord. Oh, Lord, man. Oh, Lord. Do we see anything coming in from this area as well? No, we do not. No, we do not. All right, so nothing to really speak about right there. So fair enough. I'm trying to balance this analysis out as much as I can, but the best that I can do is short-term timeframes versus long-term timeframes right now. Anyways, so what are targets going to be to the downside? It's basically the same thing as yesterday. Next sort of short-term basin area I'd be looking at would be $45,000. I would be looking for a bounce off that region as well. But just like the bounce off $48,000, I mean, as long as long as we fail to take out the prior high, it's just another lower high. That's the problem with it. Again, we're playing with about a $10,000 range right here too. So obviously, those numbers can produce some nice big bounces, but that's still that's still very much set. Anyways, putting on the drawing tools right here. Anything else that I want to say about this? Yes. Okay. So $45,000 would be my next target on a breakdown. Very likely a bounce there. But do I think that things would stop there? Unlikely. No. I would ultimately be looking towards about $41,000 to $42,000, anywhere between the 200 exponential moving average and the 200 simple moving average right here, which are currently in about a $2,000 differential between 41 and 39 and a half. Let's actually dial that one down. Yeah, it's actually about 42 versus 39 and a half. So they're actually a little bit further away from each other. Obviously, they're going to be changing over time. So I don't necessarily think that this is like coming to fruition right now. But just tentatively speaking, I would be looking at $41,000. It's like a big area, potential major low, definitely potential major low right there. But I'd want to see it in real time, and at the very least a bounce, of course, at the very least a bounce. And naturally, the longer that Bitcoin trades sideways within this region right here without breaking $45,000, the 200 exponential average will actually move up to around $44,000 to $45,000, and the 200 simple, you can already kind of imagine it coming into about $41,000 level as well. So it's just a matter of time. How long can Bitcoin kind of hold itself sideways here? That's the real question. Now, I do want to do a bit of a dissection on the 2013 cycle here here just to kind of get an idea of what we might be looking at within the context of history. Now, this cycle over here, very, very impressive, right? We did see pretty much an unabated run, somewhat similarly on a closing basis to what we're looking at on Bitcoin right now. We do see about a 1,200% gainer right there. Let's see if we actually take it out from the breakout of this structure, which is not very well documented, but that would be more like 19. So if we kind of cut it to the middle, what would that be? About 1,500, or sorry, yeah, about 1,500%. Very similar to what we saw on our current run from coronavirus dumb times where Bitcoin is right now. And then what happened? Bitcoin blows off its fucking top, and what do? We come down on a closing basis, weekly closing basis, that is, about 56.25%. Kind of nasty right there. Very, very nasty. Now, ultimately, this did just get reaccumulated and march itself onwards and upwards higher. And to be clear, there's something very interesting about this right here too. There was never a weekly reversal. You basically, this is actually really fucking crazy right here. All right, so here's your high. Here's your, here's your low. You might even say that this is low as well. Same high, higher low, same high, kind of higher low, just continuation. And then it's really not until here where you hit a high. Then where's your next low? Your next low isn't really until here. I mean, some people might say that this is a low, but this is all in the same move. I don't look at it as such. At least I don't find that that's very usable long term, actually. On top of that, we do see just kind of a continuation move the whole way through. Could we be looking at the same thing over here? We could, because where is our last very obvious higher low on the weekly? Well, $32,000. That is a hard base now, going onwards and forwards here. So with all of that in mind, let's just play around with numbers here as we typically do. I'm not saying that this has to happen exactly, but what would happen if we shaved off about 50% off price action? That is rather interesting, I would say. I won't even say the numbers right now for the people listening out there. You got to look at this one so I don't fucking burst your bubbles. But yeah, overall, I mean, do I think that's possible? Yeah, it's definitely possible. It's definitely got a non-zero probabilistic outcome there. So with that said, I mean, it's very difficult to look at Bitcoin as like, it's very difficult to look at Bitcoin right now. How about that? How about just that statement? Looking at the 3-day right here, in hindsight, we had the dual sell signal on the 16th of April, I'd say. That was, basically on this high right here. Not the ultimate high, but one day after, and then boom, down, down, down. Now, typically speaking, when I'm looking at the jewel here, I want to see a move in between all the fibs here. So I do look at this as pressure down until we come down all the way to this area right here. To be fair, and this is, by the way, on increasing BBWP. Also not good. So we got volatility expanding plus trend plus momentum. It's kind of an issue right now. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to happen today, but yeah, do you think that sometime this week we probably will be looking at another try to the downside? Again, relevant areas: $45,000, 42 to 41-ish region, and then after that, hold your breath, Boolaws, hold your fucking breath. Anyway, should we go check out Ethereum now? Yeah, we should. Or actually, before that, let's go check out Bitcoin Dominance. I just want to see if we hit the macro area. I did see several altcoins making new ultimate highs yesterday, actually, which is very impressive. All right, did we hit it? Has it been hit? Yes. Yes, it has. It's actually been stabbed into just a little bit there. I still think you could, put in another few wicks here. That's definitely fine. But could we be looking, does that play into a Bitcoin inverted move? Yes, very likely yes. So, when we're looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart, that does not imply direction on Bitcoin specifically. But within the context of this market, when altcoins have been rallying to the moon and more, within the context of Bitcoin just more or less going sideways in a range, and if we are looking for a bounce out of this region right here, what would that imply? It would mean that Bitcoin is going to gain versus US dollar, or Bitcoin is going to gain versus US dollar in comparison to altcoins in general. But that doesn't mean that it has to go up. It can be a less accelerated fall down as well. So in that case right there, what does that mean? That does mean that if Bitcoin breaks down, we very likely do see altcoins pull back with it, and they will lose versus their Bitcoin Satoshi pairing. This also plays into our analysis yesterday from Ethereum Bitcoin pairing. I think it was on this chart over here. Let me just briefly pull it up. There we go. And this had already hit, I believe, Yeah, our macro area right here. Yep, and it actually did get a little bit higher. Oh, no, it just barely grazed it right there. You know, do I still think that there could be maybe one more swipe into this region? Perhaps yes. Okay, so maybe I do take that back. Maybe there's one more swipe that could correlate easily with another bounce on Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin wants to bounce back up to like 53,000 bucks. Definitely possible. That'd play into that rather well, in fact. But looking at this right here, you know, this is a pullback area. Long term, do I remain bullish on this? Yes, I actually remain massively bullish on this long term. I do think that it's going to hit, you know, 0.1 and then probably even 0.137 long term. But as we haven't really had a pullback since, you know, April on this massive move from, I mean, this is almost what, a 3x right there, 180%, pretty damn impressive, right? So I do think that it'd be relevant to be looking for a pullback on this. And does that correlate with Bitcoin, you know, breaking down below its structure? Probably yes. Could it also come, you know, what would be the other condition for it happening? Well, if Bitcoin breaks out to the upside, but that's at $58,000. So I think it's a little bit more likely that Bitcoin breaks the downside here in comparison to that. So, you know, looking at this right now, we are getting several signals of a pullback here. You know, momentum is waning right here on the MACD, same thing on SMI, and the DMI plus is getting its signal faded as well, which is more or less a bullish reset. So again, long-term bullish, yes. Short term, however, can this thing come down? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this thing can come easily down to like 0.067. Where was our last macro area? I think it was like 6.5. Let's just mark this area off right here. Do something like this. There we go again. Yep. Okay, cool. Actually, that'd be significantly lower. All right, you know, let's take one from a little bit higher then and not piss everyone off. 5.8. You know, could very easily come back down there, base around there, reaccumulate, and then try again higher. So long term, I still do remain massively bullish on this, but it does kind of play into what we're looking on in Bitcoin as well, which might not be what a lot of people are looking for today. Apologies, my friends. Apologies. Anyways, let's go check out some of the winners from yesterday. Okay, how about Ripple? What's Ripple doing? Ripple had a fucking had quite the run yesterday. Very good here. In fact, I'm not bearish on Ripple in any way, shape, or form right here. We do see obvious structure within the context of an uptrend, and we do have reaccumulation right here in an ascending triangle. As long as it's riding above this last higher low at 1.25, I'm bullish on this one, and I'm looking for the high of this one to get retested at 183. I'd say any sort of a breakout is confirmed with a daily closure above 165. What about a 4 hour? You could do 170, and at that point I'd be looking for a retest of the highs on this run, and very likely a move towards a prior all-time high, actually on a closing basis. That is about 2.5 to 275 region, maybe new all-time highs after that, but you know, this does still look more or less fine to me. So fair enough. Call it what you want to call it, but Ripple's still looking at least good there as long as it maintains. As long as that condition is met. Monero, what do we see over here? Monero, I still like long term. Similar to Ethereum, I think we got a little bit of downside here. Short term probably comes back down and tests around the 55 at 355. However, I don't think that the run is done on the macro scale. No, not at all. In fact. And hey, there is one condition that would make me look for new all-time highs coming this week, but it's going to be cutting it close right here. We got a weekly closure coming today in 18 hours, 59 minutes, and 55 seconds. If we close above the topside Toronto band, which is 450 about right now, then yeah, I would be looking for new all-time highs. Much further deep. I think like $600 would be the next target or something like that. Or maybe it was like 550. I don't think it's very relevant to be speaking about right now, but it's got a lot of work to do, to be fair. But hey, if that can happen, yeah, I would be looking for, another, another continuation drive. What else can we look at? Link. Yeah, we should definitely check out Link today too. Where's my linky dinkies? There we go. I want to see it versus the US dollar. All right, what do we see over here on the daily? Again, daily, could very easily put another wick down to about $39.50. I still do like this one long term. Weekly is still pretty damn good. In fact, weekly, if we do close anywhere around like 47 and a half, I'd be looking for another continuation phase this week. So some altcoins actually are showing life here, and I would say that does play in a little bit more lovingly to the Bitcoin analysis. Does Bitcoin put another rally here, or at least a short-term rally, while altcoins try for one more move to the upside? Definitely possible. At that point, I could still be looking for around $5,000 on Ethereum, but it's going to be cutting it close, man. It's going to be cutting it extremely fucking close here. I do think that kind of this is like a ticking time bomb right now. Looking at the 4 hour, what do we see? And a lot of bearish signals actually, but they are waning right now, to be fair. 12 hours kind of building a DMI minus signal, which is not good. But overall, I'll just kind of stick with the weekly on this one. In fact, the 12 hours is really, really easy to use here too. Anywhere above this last little local high, which is 46.5 bucks, then yes, I would be looking for another retest of highs at 52, 50, 53, and then very likely new highs after that. As this would be continuation, but yes, it is showing a bit of pressure down on the short-term time frames, to be fair. All right, what else do we have? What about Dogecoin? What's Dogecoin doing? It hit our bull trap area and then down, or did it? Is this chart that I made? No, I did not. It must be over here. All right, let's go try this one. Here you go, doggy derp. Okay, let's put on a daily. What do you fucking know, man? Just grazes a 618 right here. Classic shit right there. So I would be looking for a pushback of that. And hey, what's up to our new friend? Although I can't see you right now. But I would be looking for a move back down somewhere around about 46.25 region. How does that play into the weekly though? Weekly's still okay too, to be fair. I mean, I do have rules with that, so I probably shouldn't get too bearish on that one. 4 hours not bearish. 4 hours actually fine right here, if anything. You know what? I have no fucking clue on Dogecoin. Maybe I should just not talk about it. I mean, we did get that move right there. Yes, so we'd actually call the bounce rather well, and we did get a pullback off that, a rather good one too, from 59 all the way down to 49. Okay, 10 cent on a 50-cent number, pretty fucking good. You know what? I have no call on this one actually. No call. There's none. There's nothing to be spoken about. I do want to and at this point, you know, if you're deep into this analysis right now, understand that I'm just going to go through a shit ton of altcoins because I want to see something that's like obvious amongst them all, as I did not kind of plan this out. So I'm going to look at some of the, you know, some of the better acting ones. I think KSM, Usama, whatever the fuck this thing is. This one I keep on seeing on the winners list, you know, for the last few weeks. Daily's hard to hate. I mean, daily's actually pretty fucking good here, if anything. Let's see it on our long-term charts. I do think the weekly might be trained, in fact. Let's see. ASM, USD over here. Binance, and what do we got? Let's go to a daily. Daily's still okay. Weekly is... I still like the weekly. Any sort of a weekly closure above 520, I'd still have a north side bias here. Hard to hate that one. Very hard to hate that one. What's another one that people like? Matic. Yeah, that's one. Is that Polygon? Is that Polyderp? All right, Matic USD. Try this one. Very fucking good. Wow. Holy shit. Bullish. You might say bullish. Yeah, this one's trending right now too. As long as we're maintaining above 150 pivot, I am bullish, looking for retest of the highs and new highs. Do we have targets for this one as well? I think that we could probably definitely generate something like that. Let's see. All right, so we just kind of hit up. Oh my god, we are getting really fucking aggressive with this. Wow. All right, so it did base off the 4.236. Next region would actually be just above $2. I would be very cautious on this one. What about Cardano? I think that one had a decent day. Or did it? I forget. Let's try this one. Very good. Very fucking good. Still bullish on this one. Did we hit our $2 target? Oh, wow. Holy shit. We didn't just hit our $2 target. We smashed it. I think it said 220. 220 was my big target. This is very obviously bullish. Holy shit. Holy fuck. Yeah, everything's looking good on the weekly. Barring any sort of catastrophic close below like $2 today, I would be looking for new ultimate highs coming in this next week. This is very good. Very, very good. Very impressive, actually. Very, very impressive. What else do we have? Is there anything else that I can pull up really quickly here? What about Litecoin? What's Litecoin doing? I don't hate this as well. Typically, these first pullbacks right here after taking out your prior ultimate high are like obvious buy signals, so I'd stick with that in this case. So we are seeing a bifurcated market here. And this does make me reconsider some things that I say on Bitcoin. Now, keep in mind, a Bitcoin like prolonged bounce up to, you know, 51 to 53,000 bucks. Could that allow these altcoins to make their next stretch? Yeah, absolutely, it could. But after that, you know, that's where I have kind of trouble fitting the pieces. If altcoins start to look toppy when Bitcoin bounces up to like 51 to 53,000 bucks, that's at the point where it'd really be like, okay, the market probably does come down now, and Bitcoin plays out some more prolonged down, sideways and down. But for now, I suppose you could make a few more excuses for Bitcoin, I suppose, just based off the altcoin market, because we typically see this move together. Now, could it be that we are in a fully matured market now, and we are going to see bifurcation where, some will be in a weekly uptrend versus others in a weekly downtrend? Possible, yes, but we just have still yet to see that. So I'm very hesitant to adopt that opinion until we actually fully see that. Anyways, what other ones? Let's go over here. Harmony, what the fuck is that? Is that the one symbol? I think it is. Let's see what that one's doing. Phenomenal day. Oh yeah, it is. Oh, nice one. I'm learning my altcoins, like the ABCs. Very fucking good here too, popping back above the reaccumulation range. I do not hate this in any way, shape, or form. Very fucking good. I'd be looking for a retest of the highs at 20 cents and probably new highs. This is fine on the weekly. What's another one that we have over here? We got Cardano, Solana. Yeah, that's another big one. Keep on seeing that one called out too. Let's see what she's doing, or he, or whatever the fuck. Yeah, freshly looking like what's to break out of this accumulation range as well on the daily. I'd be looking at a retest of the prior highs and probably new highs. Very fucking good. Hidden bullish evidence of the last low, daily TSI, and potentially, in a posture to turn up as well. I'd give it a couple more days, but if that happens, especially on extremely low BBWP, I have to be bullish as fuck on this thing, man. Very good. Raven coin. What the fuck? Chili. Yeah, let's try Chili's and we'll call it there. All right. CHZ. Is that it? I think it is. Hey, there we go. All right, sweet. On Binance, not as obviously good here, but within the context of the other charts that we looked at, I am inclined to say that this higher low right here does lead into another retest at least of about 58 cents region. Anywhere above 58 cents region, I'd be looking for a retest of prior highs, and a lot of the other ones are moving in that same direction, so I'd probably be lenient on this one as well. I think that this one does fall through to the upside as well. Daily, fine. Yeah, looking good there. Looking good. Short term, bouncing back up. Yep. Okay, cool. All right. So with that said, again, if I'm gonna wrap up all my thoughts here, specifically on Bitcoin and just the market, in its whole entirety, the coins that have been doing well, this past few days here and that are kind of reapproaching highs, they seem to be that, or it looks like several of them do actually want to continue on with these rallies here, and I'm a lot more lenient towards some like that in this market cycle right here at this exact moment. With the context of Bitcoin, we do see several signs of short-term and medium-term time frame bounces all the way up to a 10-hour. We have bullish divergence potential in place, and that can very easily get things back up to about 51,000 bucks, and then of course above this last local high right here at 51,000 bucks, I'd extend that run another two to 3,000 bucks to 53, maybe a little bit more than that. But as long as Bitcoin's below 58,000 bucks, I do think it's time to be I think it's time to be an investor, and then it's time to be looking at at altcoins rather than Bitcoin, if you are looking for like the trade rather than the investment. Yeah, I think that's the way that I want to put that statement. But all the things like I'm still really not liking this chart right here. So short term bouncy bounce, long term hold your breath. Anyways, I'll leave it off right there. Again, could it be that altcoins just kind of carry this one onwards and forwards? Yes. I mean, I do think that at least tentatively speaking, I'd kind of be looking for at least upside on pretty much everything short term, just playing out these bounces. And then the real question is what happens after that once Bitcoin gets around, those next major levels. And of course, altcoins, if they do carry on with their rallies, what happens if they start to look toppy? So with all that said, I do want to wish you well. I'll be back on tomorrow with some more live stream analysis. Take care and see you hopefully soon.